Oh my goodness, it's Donkey Kong. You know, with the amount of Donkey Kong that's been on the channel, you might think that Donkey Kong is a series I really like. Nope, it's just a series that has been really relevant, weirdly, a lot lately. I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing started, because I actually don't know really much about this. It was announced in the Direct, and it came out yesterday. Yeah, let's just see what this does, because I actually I have to explain a little bit of stuff, but I'm going to do that while I play. There's some Donkey Kong Bananza stuff. I can do that, but I'm going to not for right now. So what actually happens here? Does it launch Switch Online, or does it, day and RAM being complete? Okay, yeah. Okay, so is it just beat Jungle Hijinks? That's so weird. So it must be running on the Switch, or the Switch Online software, but it didn't show me like an opening animation or anything. It just launched the level. That is weird. That is very, very weird. So this is just a little challenge thing, basically. Just a little series of things you can do, and you get weird rewards. It's weird, and I'll be honest with you, if you haven't seen any of it, you have seen as much of it as I have. I saw what they showed in the Direct, and that was it. And now I'm just I'm playing the thing and seeing how it goes. Challenge cleared. Wow, so it just completely got rid of the HUD on the side. Strange. On a software level, this is a very interesting thing that they have going. Alright, next challenge, I guess. Do a minecart. That's not going to be good. Jump over the cutoff and damage rails. Alright, so I'm going to launch this one, and then I'm going to try pressing the home button, because... yeah, so it is in the Super Nintendo app. That's so weird. That's so weird. So I wanted to explain something real quick, because, also, can I? No, that's so weird. I'm gonna be saying that again. That's so weird. The way that it modified like the Super Nintendo app to do this. It's strange that it even can do that. I died. Oops. Rewind a little. What does that do? Oh, it lets me choose where to go to. Okay. Not much of a challenge if you can rewind, but sure. Yeah, restart from the beginning. So I wanted to explain something real quick, because this challenge thing, this DK challenge mode, it's not really a mode, it's just a thing. It is a limited time thing, and I am not a huge fan of that, personally. I know a lot of people are in a similar boat, where it's like, well, why isn't this just a thing you can do whenever? Why are we FOMOing it? It is what it is, but I am going to say that because it's a limited time thing, I am basically going to be uploading 2 versions of this video. One of them is the one you're watching now. This is the main version. The other version is an unlisted video that I put in the description. You can find a link to the unlisted version in the description. And that's because I want to basically have some footage that is archived. So if someone wants to see what this was like, but without the commentary, they can do that. So people can use that video to use as references or for research or for whatever. And if you are wondering, like maybe you come here a few years from now and you want to see, or you want to like make a YouTube video, dang it, oh, I have a spare Kong, and you want to, you know, make a YouTube video and use the footage, you don't want the commentary, you just want to use the footage with the game sound, or you just want to use a screenshot, whatever you want to do with it. If you are wanting to do that, go ahead. The video in the description, or the one you're watching now, either one is fine. Use it. You know, put it in your own video if you want to. I don't care. Don't worry about crediting me, at least if you use the version in the description. You might want to do something about the profile picture. I just realized is my actual me, which hasn't been updated in many years, by the way. But yeah, if you want to use that, go ahead. It's up to you. I just want you to know that that is available. That's something that I'm doing because I want to, dag nabbit. I want to have this archived to some extent, and if my video helps with that, if that helps you to do what you want to do and you to show what it was like, what the UI was like and all that kind of stuff, great, go for it. I just really don't want this to be, you know, lost to time, because I mean that happens so frequently where something is like, so I'm guessing these are Donkey Kong Country. No, I think these might just be difficulty. I'm not sure. Take screenshot. So so you take a screenshot of your trading cards? That's weird. Very, very weird. I had to cut there because it took me to the home screen and then it showed people's names. Didn't want that to be shared. Yeah, so you hover over it and it plays a little clip of what it is. Oh, wow. Okay, so there is also, like, not just the Donkey Kong Country stuff. Game Boy Donkey Kong! That's the best one. Donkey Kong Land, that's the worst one. Okay, so these are ordered somehow. So if I go to the right, it shows, like, Donkey Kong Bananza stuff. I do have Donkey Kong Bananza. I'm actually going to go in real quick and see what it says. Yeah, okay. I figured that was probably going to be the case. Right now I have Kirby Air Riders inserted, so I'm going to go get my Bananza. Before I put Bananza in, I'm going to see what happens if I put Kirby Air Riders in, because I'm sure it's going to give some kind of a message saying wrong card or something like that. Nope. Same screen. Alright, fine. You're smarter than me, Switch. Oh. Alright, I'm gonna do this, and we'll come back to the challenges afterward. Actually, it can probably do that in the background. Actually, that's a good question, maybe. It's gonna take 1 minute. It can do that. Okay, well, it's just gonna do it. I'm just gonna let it. Alright, so let's do a quick Donkey Kong Bananza thing, just for the sake of it. Because I'm curious, is it gonna, like, it has to launch Donkey Kong Bananza, right? it just has to. This is taking longer. Yeah, okay, it's going to a loading screen. Alright. It's so weird. And it's just weird how this, like, it's like it's overriding parts of the game. It's so weird. Oh yeah, that's also a thing. Donkey Kong Bananza. So if I go into the game, if I hit continue, is it going to do the challenge? Now it's a little bit less weird, because it basically just opened Donkey Kong Bananza. It didn't open to a specific thing, which is, it might be even more weird. Okay, I don't need to know what layer I'm on. Uh-oh. Methinks this isn't the thing. How do I do the challenge? Options? I doubt it. Save data? Return to title? Video games? You're confusing me, video games. mean, there's DLC info, but that's this. Alright, I'm gonna go back into the Switch Online app. Oh. Oh, wait, what? You just get them. You don't actually... Oh! Oh, these are basically achievements. I see. Okay, so I already did all of these things, except for a few of these. So yeah, there are a couple of, I guess, nostalgia things? Yeah, there are a few Donkey Kong Bananza things that I haven't done. So I guess as you do them, it sort of fills in what you're supposed to do. I'm gonna say it again. That's so weird. Although I don't know what the Bananza transformations ones are, because I have all the transformations, so I'm not sure what that's about. Okay, so we're gonna be going back to the classics then. Oh, these ones. Okay, so yeah, these challenges then would be to do that. That's quirky. The fact that you have to go in and manually like go into the right level kind of takes a lot of the fun out of it. Because like it doesn't put you in it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's weird. Let's go back into these ones then. So these are basically just play levels of Donkey Kong Country and other stuff. I'm guessing. I don't think they like modified the ROMs of the games or anything. I don't know. We'll see. So far, it's been just play Donkey Kong Country, which I'm fine with because I like Donkey Kong Country. Ah, no. It is kind of funny, and this is probably... Oh, dear. I'm not very good at this game right now. Let's rewind that one. Yeah, rewind to losing Dixie. That's smart. It is kind of funny that they have a challenge for Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3, and Donkey Kong Land, but then they also have Donkey Kong Bananza. The thing that's funny is that they don't have, like, Donkey Kong Country Returns, because that's a Switch game now. They could use Donkey Kong Country Returns. No, which is fine, because I don't have Donkey Kong Country Returns on the Switch. Fine by me that it's not included, but yeah, I don't know. It's a weird little quirky thing. I mean, that's the thing. It's just a this whole mode, this whole DK challenge thing is it's such a weird little quirky thing. It's just a quirky thing. It's such a strange thing that they just kind of announced in a Nintendo Direct, which this is probably... See, I'm going to want to include a lot of footage because I want to have like the archive footage include a lot, but I don't want the archive footage to have more than what I do in this video. So I'll sort of talk a little bit in a padding time kind of way, because I want to show a lot of footage. And if there's a lot of dead air, that's why, is because I want to have a lot of footage to use. Barreling to the top. Neat. This one's gonna take forever. So I figure I might as well pad a little bit of time by talking about the Direct, because as of now, it is a recent thing. I am going to be releasing this video soon after I record it, just because, hey, it's timely, and it's not going to take that long to edit. But so I might as well talk a little bit about the Direct, and I think my biggest problem with the Direct is we've sort of reached a point where if you have a thing like a Nintendo Direct and it's really good, people are going to find things to complain about, or people are going to say, oh, everyone's whining too much, whatever. I think it's one of those things where you sort of run into a problem where something becomes so accessible that everyone feels like no, I'm saying that in a wrong order. Nintendo Directs are very accessible because they are free. You know, if you have an internet connection, you probably do because you're watching this, you can watch a Nintendo Direct. You know, there's nothing stopping you from watching a Nintendo Direct. And, so everyone can watch this Direct. But we also are so used to a time when, you know, certain things like the concept of reviewing something is like, oh yeah, well, you need the opinions of people who are able to watch a lot of things or play a lot of things and all that kind of stuff. Well, anyone can watch a Direct. You don't need specialist opinions in order to say, oh, that, you know, I can watch this Nintendo Direct and I am uniquely able to express my special unique opinion. And so there are all these people who they feel the need to say, I thought the Direct was good or bad or whichever opinion they have, and then they explain their reasoning. And I just kind of feel like, as someone who is about to say my opinion about the Nintendo Direct, your opinion doesn't matter. And I don't mean that in a general sense. You know, if your goal for saying what you thought is, I want Nintendo to have a chance to read what people think and, you know, fix things in the future or whatever, fine. I think that expressing yourself in that way is valuable, but I think that also people are very quick to think that their opinions matter on things when they may not. And to the general public, the opinion of the general public is not very helpful. You know, what you think of the Nintendo Direct is not going to influence. Dag nabbit, I'm having a problem with these barrels. What you think about the Nintendo Direct is not going to influence what I thought about the Nintendo Direct. Whether you thought it was better than I did or you thought it was worse than I did. And so I'm, you know, whatever. What I say to you, if you value my opinion, that's great, and I appreciate that, but also at the same time, don't feel entitled to care about my opinion. You know, my opinion doesn't matter any more than yours does, and if you saw the Nintendo Direct and you thought it was different than I did, that's fine. You know, that's absolutely fine. Dag nabbit, I'm not starting over from the beginning. I'm going to rewind a little. Dag nabbit, I'm not going to start over from the beginning. I'm going to rewind a little. There we go. So, my biggest thing with the Nintendo Direct, unfortunately, my biggest takeaway, no matter what they showed, my biggest takeaway is people are insufferable. Everyone cares so much. Everyone has to explain why other people are wrong. Other people are misunderstanding the Direct, and my opinion is correct. And it's like, no, your opinion isn't correct because it's an opinion, and it's an opinion about something that is very subjective. Now, the reason why I say that, I thought the Direct was a Nintendo Direct, and I think a lot of people think that it was good or bad because they showed or didn't show the thing that they did or didn't want shown. And from my experiences with Nintendo Directs, that was a very Nintendo Direct type of Nintendo Direct. Now, I will say, I think that it was the wrong time, personally, for a Nintendo Direct type Nintendo Direct. Because, like, we've seen, over the last week or so, we've seen a lot of companies do their showcases. Sony did theirs, Microsoft did theirs, and then it was Nintendo's turn. And I will say that Nintendo's offerings are very, well, the game offerings on the Switch 2 are very good. There's a lot of very good stuff coming to the Switch 2. Some of it is coming to the Switch 2 on the same day as it's coming to other platforms. Great, phenomenal. I am very happy to see that. I went the entire, well, not the entire, most of the Switch era, I played only on the Switch. I had a PS4, I didn't want to play it, because I don't really like sitting down at a TV and playing my video games. I like playing my video games where I want to play my video games, and the Switch allowed me to do that. PS4 didn't let me do that. So the fact that I'm not actually missing out on nearly as much on the Switch 2 as I did on the Switch, that's awesome, and I'm very happy to see that. The thing is that I didn't get through the Switch era playing only third-party games. I don't think that was really possible to have a good time doing that. I played a lot of Nintendo games on the Switch. I played a lot of Nintendo games my entire life. And the one thing that I think Nintendo is kind of lacking on right now is Switch games. So, like, not Switch 1 games, that is definitely lacking because all we have coming now is Rhythm Heaven. But, Switch 2 games. We're lacking games that are coming only to the Switch. And specifically, games made by Nintendo for the Switch 2. And, it'd be nice to see more Nintendo-made games, basically. And a lot of people are thinking, oh, the Switch 2 doesn't have any games, and that's not really true. The Switch 2 has plenty of games. They're just not games you want to play. Ew. Arcade Donkey Kong. I mean, it's NES Donkey Kong, but yeah. Oh, my NES, my NES app is out of date. Download. So now we're going to sit on a download screen, and I'm going to tell you about the Direct. As if this video couldn't get any more dull. Huzzah. I hope you're having a good time. So the thing with the Switch 2 is what's coming to the Switch 2 for me, a Nintendo fan. It's not nothing. It's very much not nothing. Oh, I think I have the pixel grid turned on. Oops. So, I feel like, to me, what's coming to the Switch 2, is it exciting? Kind of, yes. Kind of underwhelming. I'm excited for Star Fox. I'm excited for Rhythm Heaven. And I'm excited for the Ocarina of Time remake. But also, there's other stuff that's coming that I feel like I should be excited for. Switch Sports Resort should be such a slam dunk, because Wii Sports Resort is awesome, but it's just missing a little bit of stuff. It's missing... I know that this is niche. I know most people don't care about this, but for my family... Frisbee golf in Wii Sports Resort is like, it's something we still play. We still bust out the Wii to play Frisbee golf. And ever since Switch Sports came out, we've wanted there to be a Switch Sports Resort with Frisbee golf. That's not in there. And it's one of those things where does it matter for most people? No, not at all. The Frisbee mechanics weren't even that good in Wii Sports Resort, so like, who's going to go, oh man, my favorite mode, Frisbee golf? Not very many people, and I can understand why that wouldn't be worth it from their perspective when making Switch Sports Resort. Because mechanically speaking, Frisbee's a Frisbee, which is a throwing disc or whatever they would call it. Frisbee is a brand name, but disc mechanics, throwing disc mechanics, they're hard to make in a video game. They're hard to make accurate. And so I don't blame them for not wanting to do that, but it does mean that Switch Sports Resort, if you want to play a direct improvement over Wii Sports Resort, Switch Sports Resort ain't it. And I also think that everyone has the same opinions when it came to the thumb wrestling bit of the Direct. It went too long, it wasn't interesting. And that's something that I will say that I personally, I feel like they haven't been doing very well with is presenting their games. I was thinking that during the Splatoon Raiders portion of the Direct. I was like, Splatoon Raiders is a game I'm actually interested in. I forgot to mention that one earlier. But I am interested in Splatoon Raiders. I like Splatoon mechanics. My biggest problem with it is how the player versus player stuff is handled, and the fact that Splatoon Raiders doesn't have that is cool, and I'm interested in playing Splatoon Raiders. I was very bored listening to the guy talk about Splatoon Raiders, and I was thinking about, like, with the dialogue, he's talking about the Salmonids are coming. I'm like, who cares? Is there anyone on Earth who heard Salmonids and said, oh, now I care? Bring the key to the... Okay, that's just the video game. Is there anyone who thought, oh, I really want to play this game, but I just don't know, because the splat mechanics, what's a splat stuff? Do I care? Does this splat thing matter? And like, who's in that position? Do you need to explain Splatoon Raiders to the extent that they explained Splatoon Raiders? I don't think so. Personally speaking, and it just kind of feels like they have this problem, I think, where they over-explain what they're showing. Like, they show you something, they show you the video game, and then they need to explain what a video game is. And it's just kind of boring. It's kind of dull. And I would like to see them kind of get better at, like, I've never played this game in my life. We'll see what happens. I would like to see them not say what you just saw, because, like, yeah, I saw a video game. I don't need you to explain it all the time. Sometimes a game is self-explanatory. And I feel like they never let a game speak for itself. They always have to tell you what just happened. And it's usually not that exciting or interesting or worth going over. It's like watching the same trailer twice, essentially. And not every game is like that, but I think a lot of them are. DK Accounting? Oh, it's Donkey Kong Jr. Math. Okay, that's fine. So... Nice! I love Donkey Kong Jr. Math. Plus 83. 7... Okay, I see. So something has to equal 83. I don't think 7 times anything... No, 7 times nothing would equal 83. So, I messed up. Wait, if I do 70 something, 79, doink. Can I not doink? Oh, it's single digit only? Okay, well, let's give a wrong answer then, and maybe that resets it. 7 times 4, yes. No, that's not 83. Dang it. Now what? Am I stuck now? Oh, do I have to keep going? Okay, let's go times 2. Times 2 is definitely safe. 56. Plus, at this point. Boy, this is... this is riveting. 9... Don't touch the divide. It's not divide. There's no more 9s on this side. I have to go over to player 2's side. I actually played this, I played this as a kid on the Wii Virtual Console, and I didn't understand it, and I played it more recently, and I thought, oh, this game's kind of fun. I will say, though, I went to the store today, and I stumbled across the silverware aisle, and I realized how excited I am about silverware, and that's when I realized I'm really, really old and boring now. I realized that with shelves in the past. I noticed, hey, I like shelves now. I like looking at furniture. Yikes, I'm an old man now, and that's fine. Back on the topic of not this video game. I did it. I beat math. Riveting. Yeah, I think that they have a problem with how they present directs. I think that they have a problem with just needing to over-explain everything, and it's not usually worth it. And it's funny. Well, it's not funny. It's tragic, actually. Because, you know, everyone's making fun of the thumb wrestling thing, and that's the game's legacy now. I really think that they're going to have a hard time selling people on Switch Sports Resort, because what they showed, this is the thing, what does everyone remember from Wii Sports Resort? It's the flying game. It's the game where you're flying in a plane on Woohoo Island. And you get to, we're gonna demo Switch Sports Resort, which includes the flying minigame, and we're going to focus on thumb wrestling. And that was abrupt. And I just think, if they had showed the flying minigame, that would have been fine. You know, that would have been... I mean, that would have shown people what they're gonna buy the game for anyway. No one's buying it for thumb wrestling. I don't understand why they would be interested in showing us thumb wrestling. And it just kind of feels like they really don't fully understand their audience. Like, who's watching a Nintendo Direct? Who chooses to watch an hour-long show about a video game announcement thing and gets excited about thumb wrestling? Because I genuinely don't think anyone does. Also, I found out when you press, when you go here and you press B, it brings you back to this menu, which is fun. And I keep doing it. No. I don't like Donkey Kong Land. Donkey Kong Land 2 and 3 are genuinely very good games. Especially 3. Donkey Kong Land 3 is a really good game, and Donkey Kong Land 1 feels terrible. To me, in my opinion. Some people like it. I don't understand those people, but... Anyway, about the actual Direct, it was fine, I thought. I thought that what they showed was a lot of stuff that was okay. I am interested in the Xenoblade game, and I can't say that about... Like, if they had actually announced Xenoblade Chronicles 4, I'll be honest with you, I would have said, cool, not for me. That's what I've said to most Xenoblade games, because there's too many of them, and they're too long, and I don't want to spend my entire year playing one series of video games. I spent most of a year playing Persona 5 when that came out, and my takeaway from that game is, it's pretty good. Not my favorite. It's okay, though. And I don't want to do that with Xenoblade 1, 2, and 3, and X. It's just too much Xenoblade. But this one doesn't seem like it's attached too much to the other ones. It doesn't seem to have as much baggage, so... Yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested in Xenoblade Genesis, or as some people pointed out, it's not... the European version is not called Xenoblade Mega Drive, which I thought was funny. Anyway, Xenoblade looks fine. Fire Emblem, not a huge fan of, personally. I liked Three Houses, and for some reason I can't get into the rest of the series. And then, you know, the big announcement, the thing everyone was going, oh, it's so... opinions, you know, everyone's got their own opinions. Personally, I like it. Ocarina of Time Remake. It looks... I'm going to say, you know, everyone kind of has the same thing. They showed us 3 minutes of thumb wrestling, and then they showed us 10 seconds of Link's hand, and everyone feels like that wasn't the right proportions. They should have shown some Ocarina of Time gameplay. They should have showed anything but just Link. And I agree, but I do think that the way they presented it, the way they like introduced it by saying what the lore of the world is, the music that they used, it's easy for people to say, oh, it's nostalgia bait. It's just going, oh, it's the music from my childhood. It's not just that. It's music from the game that sort of, I would say, sets the scene. It sets expectations for like how the game is going to be presented. So like they show Link, they show it in a very cinematic way. They have the music, they have the graphics, they have all that stuff. And to me, it's not saying, look at the nostalgia, dangling the keys in front of our faces. It's saying this game needs reverence, I guess, would be the way to say it. Because like when Ocarina of Time came out, I have Super Nintendo controls now. When Ocarina of Time came out, it was, and I say this as someone who didn't play it until much later somewhat later in my life. When it came out, it was a big deal game. It was like Lord of the Rings. This is my analogy that I like to use. It was like Lord of the Rings, the video game. And I don't mean that as in literally. It didn't feature Frodo or whatever. But but in terms of scale, in terms of how big of an adventure it was, you travel through time, and there's this big, spacious world, and all these characters and all these different, everyone does things. There's a time of day cycle. That's the first time Zelda games had that, and that was a big deal back then. And nowadays, Ocarina of Time, I would say, is pretty much the de facto Zelda experience. It's the thing where you think Zelda game, and for a lot of people, that is Ocarina of Time. That is the world of Ocarina of Time, the story of Ocarina of Time, the characters of Ocarina of Time. And I would say that when it comes to whenever like a Zelda game like Wind Waker or something like that references Zelda lore, it's Ocarina of Time. Tears of the Kingdom had Rauru in it, and it's a different character design. Maybe it's a different character with the same name, but the mythos of Ocarina of Time is still there, and you tell people that. You tell people that Ocarina of Time sets the stage for what Zelda games became and what the modern Zelda game is. And you tell that to someone, and then they go and they play Ocarina of Time, because you can play it on the Switch, or the Switch 2. And it's not that good. And I don't mean that mechanically, I mean that in terms of, the story is fine, the characters are fine, the graphics, not great, the gameplay mechanics, really atrocious in some places. But the setting is so completely different from how it was in the 90s, because it's not this big, spacious, open world game anymore. It's a tiny little cozy world, and you spend time going around these cute little towns. And I think that's one of the things that an Ocarina of Time remake has a lot of potential to. That's a bad point. An Ocarina of Time remake has the potential to really change things, make the world feel big, and hopefully not empty, but big. And boy, I'm just abusing the rewinds here. This fight is too long to do it in one sitting. But I think that an Ocarina of Time remake has a lot of good potential, basically, to bring Ocarina of Time up to date, and I mean that mostly in terms of the vibe of it, essentially, the scope of it. Not just the gameplay, not just the graphics, not just the music, which is already very good, but actually, like, bring the game up to date, bring the feel up to date, make it feel like it did back in the 90s. DK challenge. Okay, it's been showing that. Okay, so is there more? No, that is it for the classic stuff. Now it's just a few Donkey Kong Bananza things. I personally am not going to worry about these ones too much. I'm sure that there are references for what the cards look like. So I'm sure like the Mario wiki will have all of the cards. Donkey Kong Bananza is not a game that needs like footage archived of it, so I'm not going to worry too much about like archiving the footage. But yeah, that's it. Got all of the classics done. Overall, it was a fun little thing, but I wish there was more Game Boy Donkey Kong. I'm going to actually go ahead and spend some time hovering over the cards, because that does show some kind of unique footage. So I'm going to leave it on this, and I'm going to talk over it. I'm going to go ahead and in this video, in this version with the commentary, I can see that there's no audio. So I'm going to put over some music to use in the background while I finish my thoughts and inflate this video's length. So I think that the Ocarina of Time remake, it has the potential to, really bring the game up to date, make it feel more unique and more, well, unique might be the wrong word, but more current. And and people talk about the graphics. People talk about the way Link looks. People say it looks like one of those I made Ocarina of Time in Unreal Engine type videos, and I don't entirely disagree, but I also think that people say it looks realistic, and it has, I would say, realistic textures, but I think people don't understand the difference between something having high fidelity graphics and having realistic graphics. Because Ocarina of Time, the remake, the graphics themselves, aside from the textures, Link doesn't look like a real human being. He looks like a character. He looks like he is a 3D model. That's fine, I think that he looks video gamey. I don't think that he looks like they're going for hyper-realism. It doesn't look like Twilight Princess, It looks like a character made using modern technology that also happens to look like an Unreal Engine game. That's the nature of that. The higher fidelity stuff looks like Unreal Engine because Unreal Engine is high fidelity. Or at least the general vibe of Unreal Engine is high fidelity. People make any kind of art style work in Unreal Engine. It's just the reputation for it is not not cartoony. So I think that the art style that they showed, what we've seen of Ocarina of Time, the remake, it looks really, what I would say, it looks like what Ocarina of Time needs to look like to feel modern to an extent. I mean, you could say the 3DS version looks fine. I would say that that's debatable, but it looks generally, I think it looks generally fine. I think the remake in motion will probably look fine as well. People who say it looks bad, fine. I don't think you're necessarily wrong. I just think that you're wrong. No, I just disagree. And that's all there is to that. There is no, my opinion is correct, you think that it looks bad and you're wrong. I think it looks fine. I wouldn't say that I think it looks just like I would want an Ocarina of Time remake to look like. But I think it looks fine. And I'm excited for what hopefully is a much larger scale remake than the 3DS version. Because, people talk about, is the game going to be full priced? Is it going to be a $70 game, an $80 game? And my answer to that is, I don't think it's going to be cheap, as in, I think it's going to be 70 or 80. That's my speculation, because I think it's going to be a high quality remake. So, they're going to actually change the layouts of things. They're going to change the graphics. They're going to change the music. They're going to change things to feel more modern. And at that point, it is kind of it is kind of indistinguishable from a new Zelda game. And I think that they are going to, try to make it feel like a new Zelda game, just with the name Ocarina of Time. And so I think it's going to be treated like a major game release. Which also begs the question, what about Majora's Mask? You know, when Ocarina of Time came out, they reused the assets to make Majora's Mask. When Ocarina of Time 3D came out, they reused the assets to make Majora's Mask 3D. So, with the Ocarina of Time remake, are they going to reuse the assets to make Majora's Mask? No one knows the answer to that. You can only speculate, but my answer to that is I think that the idea of reusing the assets is kind of a moot point. Because the thing about, like, back in the 90s, everything was very low polygon, everything was very simple to create. So, like, Clocktown, for instance. Clocktown was made out of a lot of angular ground. They didn't go in and, like, make natural-looking terrain, whereas, like, Hyrule Field in Ocarina of Time has a lot of natural terrain. Majora's Mask is much smaller, much more simple. And when it came to the stuff that they were able to reuse from Ocarina of Time, the stuff like the character models and stuff like that, yeah, they can reuse those for a Majora's Mask remake now. But when it comes to making stuff like high-fidelity terrain, high-fidelity music, making all of that stuff modern and up-to-date looking, that would take a lot of time. And I don't think that they're going to want to do that. I don't think that they're going to want to sink that time into making that happen, which, as someone who... My favorite Zelda game is Majora's Mask. And so, on that level, it is kind of a bummer that Ocarina of Time is going to be getting a remake, and I don't think Majora's Mask will be. I am looking for one game in particular, because there's something that I want to try. It's this one. So, yeah, I don't think they're going to do a Majora's Mask remake just on the back of the Ocarina of Time remake. And I wouldn't blame them at all for not doing that, basically. This is what I'm curious about. I am actually going to... This is for the sake of showing footage again. I see you can do multiple people, multiple players. I'm going to complete the challenge as player 2, because I'm curious if that counts. So let's see here. 83 again. So, nabbit, I didn't mean to grab the 3. Let's go with 30. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, oh, wait, we can do 3 minus 3 and get back to 0. Heck yeah. It's like the game never even happened. 9 times 9, like 81. Oh, no, I messed up, didn't I? Oh, dear. Oh, we can go in the negatives? Wow, that's actually kind of impressive for an NES game. 8-bit games can handle negative numbers. Okay, well, let's just go times 9 as long as I can. Oh, dear. If player 1 was paying attention, then it would be crushing me right now. No, not plus. What times? I feel like there should be more to say about that, and to be honest, there might be. And at the end of the day, the answer is I am content with what was shown. I still think that the Switch 2 is like my pick for the best video game system right now. That's a me thing, and I want to be clear about that, because some people say, oh, the PS5 is better, it's just, you know, better graphics and more expensive and not portable, and if you get the PlayStation Portal, then it can be portable. I'm messed up, because, oh wait, I can do times 1. Alright. And for me personally, no. For me, the PS5 is just not what I want out of a video game system. For me, yeah, I'm happy with the Switch 2. This is also, I guess, the video that's coming out closest to the Switch 2 turning 1. And so people have expectations with that, and I will say, after a year of using the Switch 2, I am very content with it. I think that the the pace when it comes to stuff Nintendo has released, it's been kind of slow. But I don't mind it that much. You know, I don't really mind the output from Nintendo being slow. I think my biggest problem is that I feel like their priorities are bad. I think that the priority for them has been a lot of like getting stuff out there. So like, hey, you liked Animal Crossing New Horizons 6 years ago. Here's a Switch 2 update for New Horizons. And it's like, okay, I'll take that over nothing. But like, this isn't a replacement for a new Animal Crossing. You know that, right, Nintendo? And I kind of feel like they don't. I feel like they kind of just think, oh, whatever, it's new Animal Crossing New Horizons content. Everyone liked that 6 years ago. And I hope I hope they do new content. Yep, so if Player 2 beats Donkey Kong Jr. math, that does count. Well, isn't that cool? Just occurred to me I could show all the gameplay on this screen. I might do that. Just for the sake. Look, man, I want to be thorough. I don't want anyone to be complaining about the lost media of the Donkey Kong challenge. And if they do a Mario challenge, don't count on me doing this again, because I can't do this for every video game ever made. I'll run out of storage space, and so will YouTube. That is assuming they do more of these. This one ends in September, I believe, so you do have like all of summer to do it. Oh, time to move on to the next game. This one actually does have game audio, at least. So yeah, what I would say about the Switch 2's first year is it's pretty good, but I feel like there is sort of this mentality of it's the Switch again, or I think it's less the Switch again and more the Switch still. And it makes it kind of hard to be that excited about it at times. It feels like they want us to feel like the Switch generation is still going and it's new stuff, but it's kind of just a continuation of the old stuff. And I don't know, it's you know. I liked the Switch, and I like the Switch 2, and I like to see that that's sort of the state of things, but it also makes it feel a little bit like this is a new console, and I want to see that get taken advantage of, essentially. I think what it is, I think this is kind of mainly what my point is. It's kind of late, so my words are all over the place, and I've been talking about the same thing for most of an hour. When Nintendo releases certain games, you can tell that a generation is ending. Rhythm Heaven is the best example of that, I think. Rhythm Heaven came out on the 3DS. That was basically it. When Rhythm Heaven came out on the 3DS, that was pretty much one of the last 3DS games. I think the same was true of the Game Boy Advance version. It's definitely not like, if there's a new Rhythm Heaven, the system is dead now. That's not really true. A new Rhythm Heaven can come out and not signal the death of a console. But you know, for the past bit, it has, and so when Rhythm Heaven comes out on the Switch 1, hey, that means the Switch 1 is on its way out. You know, Rhythm Heaven's the last Switch 1 game that we know of. There might be others, and through things like NES, Super Nintendo, those retro online systems, the Switch Online systems, the Switch 1 will continue to technically kind of get new games. And, of course, the indies will still support it for a while, I'm sure. There are too many Switch 1s in the wild. Tomodachi Life, like 40% of the player base of the new Tomodachi Life was on the Switch 2. And if that is anything to go by, that means that there's still kind of a lot of life left in the Switch 1 audience, at the very least. So I could see that being supported for a very long time. So the thing about that is, I feel like Rhythm Heaven, in this case, is sort of signaling the series is... No, the system, the Switch 1, is on its way out. Nintendo doesn't want to support it anymore, they want to move on to the Switch 2. Fair, understandable. The problem is that the Switch 1 is kind of in the state of dwindling support. You know, we're seeing they're starting to phase out the Switch 1. We're starting to see less stuff and more late era stuff that isn't going to sell a system anymore. It's going to just it's going to exist, and no one's really going to pay that much attention to it because it's old now. And I'm not, I don't mean that. If you like Tomodachi Life, so do I. I have many hours in it. And same for Rhythm Heaven. I'm very excited for Rhythm Heaven. But the figure out what I'm saying. The Switch 1 is in its era of saying people aren't going to care anymore. People are done. People are moving on. Let's get the smaller stuff out of the way. Let's get the stuff out that says we're still supporting it. And it's not stuff that people are going to go, yes, finally, except for me, about. And that's fine. You know, the Switch 1 is old, and it makes sense for them to want to move on to the new console. I'm curious if the video will play if I sit on this. It doesn't seem like it. I've been sitting on it for a while. As in, I'm seeing if the video will play again. It does not look like it. So, you know, cool. That means that we're gonna start to see new Switch 2 stuff. We're gonna see new big system-selling Switch 2 games from Nintendo, right? And that's kind of the problem. You know, it's obvious they've been ramping down the Switch 1, they've been planning on the Switch 2, and they've got some stuff ready to show. They've got some stuff ready to go for it. And what they showed is... How do I put this nicely? Not much. Splatoon Raiders is a case where I feel like that Splatoon Raiders is one of those games that, for me, yeah, I'm interested. I'm excited for that game. But I don't know why it's a Switch 2 game, you know? Kirby Air Riders. I love Kirby Air Riders. I will probably play more of it tonight. But it's not a system seller. It's absolutely not a system seller. It's not a big deal game. Oops. I thought the video was over. So why is that a Switch 2 game? Why are we prioritizing that instead of something big, you know? Give us the games that really push the Switch 2 hardware. A better running version of Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, that's great, that's cool, happy to see that, but what about a new Zelda game? What about something that really demonstrates the Switch 2 is a powerful system? I don't know, it's not here. Okay, what about, oh, there's a new... I did all these, right? Yes. There's a new Switch sports game. Why is that a Switch 2 game? What couldn't this... Why is this not on the Switch 1? It just feels like there's a lot of these sort of, like, late-era video games coming to the Switch 2. And I don't know why that is. I don't know why we're seeing what feels like, you know, we're winding down the system, and here's the system. You know, here's the boy, I can't cut any of this. I just have to include me mumbling and saying nothing of value. So hopefully me in editing can sort of understand what I'm trying to say. Yikes. But it feels like we're getting the end of a system games when we should be getting the new system seller, basically. and it just kind of it's weird to me that we're not getting that. I still say I am excited. I am happy about the way that the Switch 2 has been. I like the third-party support. I'd like to see more of it. I still think, I will say, Atlas is being stupid. I think that is... I think that everything Atlas is doing is extremely mismanaged right now. I think that the fact that they are saying, yep, here's Xbox, here's PlayStation, what's a Nintendo? I think that especially since the Japanese market is very into the Switch 2, it's kind of weird that, I just realized that I should do the videos for Donkey Kong Bananza. Heck yeah. Actually, I don't have all the videos, so let me... Yeah, we can show these videos instead, because that's cool. Maybe there's debug assets in this. I don't know. So, the thing with third parties, Atlas, why okay, this is what I was thinking. The Japanese audience is very much on the Switch 2. Why is Atlas making games not for the Switch 2? I understand why they wouldn't drop everything and only make games for the Switch 2, but why don't we have Persona 4 Remake? Why don't we have Persona 6? I got lost in there. Why don't we have Persona 6 coming to the Switch 2? Why is there no Switch 2 update for Persona 5 Royale? I think is the title. I don't know. It's weird, and I just think they're doing it wrong. I think they're really making a mistake there. Not in like a console wars way. I don't care. I don't care about console wars. But yeah, overall, after first year of the Switch 2, I'm content enough. Oh, I forgot to mention this. I played the Star Fox demo. It was really fun. People who said the Star Fox redesigns, the character redesigns, look bad, they look a lot better in cutscenes. They don't look as good in still photos, because a lot of it, I think we've seen a lot of like the promo art, the stuff like that, and the actual characters when they're moving, they look great. The writing is good. The voice acting I think is fine, but I'm not a very good judge when it comes to voice acting. Wait, that's that's a nostalgia thing. Yeah, I just think that in general they did a good job with it. I think it looped. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I haven't played all of the retro stuff in Donkey Kong Bananza. I lost interest in Donkey Kong Bananza really hard. It's one of those games that I can appreciate the good about it. I can appreciate the fact that it is a good game, but I can also appreciate the fact that it's repetitive. I played Mario Odyssey to completion. Like, I 100%ed Mario Odyssey, and I don't think I ever really felt like I'm ready for it to be done now. I think I kind of felt like I could keep going with Mario Odyssey. Donkey Kong Bananza, I was ready for Donkey Kong Bananza to end about halfway through. and some of that, I think, was because I thought, oh, there's a chance. I'm going to say spoilers. I think I'm going to say spoilers. I think I thought, oh, there's a chance K. Rool's going to be in this. And I didn't want that to be spoiled for me, if it was. So I kind of rushed through the game, and I'm sure that was part of the reason why I didn't really like Donkey Kong Bananza all that much. Yeah, and it's just kind of how it was. It was a good game. It was a good game. I just felt like it got very repetitive very early. I think it's looping. Oops, that's the wrong button. I have run out of stuff to say, but I don't want the videos to feel different. I want the videos to be the same. Is there anything else to say? How many of these are even left? How many Donkey Kong Bananza challenges are there? Something I do wonder is like, so you get these trading cards. What what for? What's the benefit of the trading cards? Like, do we get to do anything with them? Like, what's the deal here? Is it interesting? It doesn't seem like it. I can't tell if it's looping or if it's just really laggy. Or both. Okay, that's a loop. Yeah, so I should probably talk a little bit about what I was actually doing in this video. This Donkey Kong challenge thing. It was fine. Like, I don't know. It was fine. It's just weird. It's just a weird thing that they did. I don't know why they did it. I don't know. Alright, I'm gonna try again to see, like, can it put me in a level? I'm gonna try with this one. I don't think so, because it's showing me on a map where to go, essentially. So again, I say, it's just weird. Alright, let's turn on the controller. There's a loading screen. I'm gonna cut the loading screens out because again, it's just Donkey Kong Bananza. we don't need footage of Donkey Kong Bananza to exist. All right. Also, I'm gonna cut to the app interface now. Ooh. I'll say this again. The reason why I cut there is because whoops, that's profile things. It has the names of people. One of them almost real, most of them fake. Okay, so let me go into this one again, hit start. Yeah, so that just launches Donkey Kong Bananza again. So that is going to do it. I will say one quick thing. I did try using the mouse cursor mode, the thing where you drag the Joy-Cons around. It does not work. So if you are 10 years from now and you want to know if the mouse cursor worked on that one menu, let's actually demonstrate. Again, we're going to have to cut here. So if I use the mouse cursor here, it works. So I can use the mouse cursor here. If I go to DK Challenge and hit start, mouse cursor does work here. If I click, it does that. Can I click and drag? No, I cannot. So if I go to, I believe it was the card view. You know what? This is actually working. That's strange, because I was trying to do it here and it was not working. And clicking and dragging works too. It even has momentum. That's weird. So if I go without using the mouse cursor, oh, it does work. Never mind. I lied. I'm a good archivist because I lied. Yeah, mouse cursor does work, which it really does make sense because it is just part of the Switch Online menu. What does the About section say? It's a limited time thing. Challenge cards. Games featuring advanced range-able playable Nintendo Classic libraries. And challenge cards for the Nintendo Classics titles can only be earned by clearing the challenges on a Nintendo Switch 2, which makes it seem like you can do them on a Switch 1, which is very strange. Very strange. Very, very strange. Alright, I think that's pretty good. I think I've gotten the footage that I'm after. It says rated E10 plus to T. Donkey Kong Bananza is rated E10 plus, so I wonder which game is rated T. Probably Donkey Kong Jr. Math. That's my guess. Alright. That's it for the third Donkey Kong video on this YouTube channel. there will not be another Donkey Kong video on this YouTube channel. At least it won't be the next one. I promise. I really hope I'm right. See you see you waiter. Waiter? Later. Yeah.